I'm peeling back the curtain and I'm getting really, really vulnerable with you. I'm going to share with you some of the biggest mistakes I made when I first became an entrepreneur. Mistakes that cost me so much money and so much time, despite that I had years and years of business experience. And you're going to want to watch right till the end, because mistake number 7 is one that a lot of entrepreneurs make. And if you're making it, it can kill your business. Hey there, I'm Nafissa Shireen, success coach and business strategist for entrepreneurs, and welcome to Living Forward TV, where I help you to build a business and design your life all around your personal freedom. And if that sounds like something you'd like to do, then I'd love to invite you to my community. I'd love to invite you to subscribe to my channel and make sure to click the bell notification so that you're the first to know whenever I release a new episode and fresh new content. Now, I don't normally like to talk about me on Living Forward TV because this channel is all about you and you creating what you want in your life. And at the same time, I've been in your shoes and I know that entrepreneurship is not a straight line. There's ups and downs, there's bumps and bruises, there's good times, there's bad times, and we all make mistakes. Mistakes that can feel like the world is crashing in on us at the time. And I want you to know something. There is no way I could have this incredible business that makes me tons of money and gives me so much time to be able to travel to all these amazing places with my husband and to have horses and to be able to spend time with them. And more importantly, to do work I love with incredible entrepreneurs. I couldn't have got here if I hadn't fallen flat on my face and tripped over my own 2 feet more times than I could count. And by sharing with you today, I really do hope to inspire you and motivate you to know that, first of all, mistakes are just part of growing into your purpose. I don't actually want you to be afraid of mistakes in general, because here's the thing. You can only make mistakes if you're actually moving forward. You can only make mistakes if you're taking action and you're trying things. And then if it doesn't work out and you've made a mistake, that's when you course correct and you do something different. Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich that opportunity usually comes disguised as defeat, temporary defeat. And it's true. Oh my goodness, mistakes I've made that at the time felt awful opened up all kinds of doors and opportunities for me. So the message here is, I don't want you to be afraid of mistakes or to avoid taking action or to avoid making decisions because you're worried that it might be a mistake. That kind of mistake will eventually sort itself out because you're taking action. However, there are some mistakes that I've made and I see other entrepreneurs make that don't lead to learning, that don't lead to new opportunities. All they lead to is lost time, lost money, to frustration and struggle. And if I can help you today to avoid them, then that's what I want to do. So I'm sharing with you what I did. And one of the first mistakes I made that really set me back is a mindset issue. I had a lot of experience in business. I ran full departments in multi-million and multi-billion dollar corporations. So when I first started my business, the mistake I made was thinking that my business experience set me up for success as an entrepreneur. And as I found out, knowing how to run a business is very, very different than knowing how to be an entrepreneur. You know, when you work for someone else, even at a high level, at an executive level, it's all about what you know how to do. Success as an entrepreneur is all about who you know how to be. And I made so many mistakes and I was embarrassed and things came up that I didn't know anything about. And I would hide behind my business knowledge instead of asking for help, instead of getting really honest with myself. And when I did, and I realized that, you know what, just because I know how to work in a business doesn't mean I know how to work on a business, or at least of all on myself. And when I took the steps and I got the coaching and the mentoring and stopped relying on my past, things started to go in the right direction. Now, the second mistake that I made, and this is one I think never really fully goes away, although I've done a lot of work on it and I'm very aware of it when it creeps up now, but it was crippling when I first started my business. And that was wanting to be liked and caring what other people thought about me. And I think that's a really big one, because when we're worried about what other people think, then we don't take actions according to what we know or what we want for ourselves. When you're worried about what other people think, then all kinds of things come up for you. You might be afraid to charge. I mean, I worked for free. I never asked for the sale. I also didn't invest in what I need. I didn't set boundaries. And when it came to decisions, I wasn't making decisions for my business or my life. I made decisions for other people and other people's agenda because I wanted them to like me. And the fact is, people pleasing is a huge skill in corporate because that's what helps you get up the ladder. However, as an entrepreneur, you just can't be worried about what other people think about you. That mistake alone cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. When you can lose caring about what other people think, that's when you open yourself up to really making your dreams happen. Now, the third mistake I made, and again, this is another one that set me back tons of time and money, was being overly vulnerable at networking events. I wanted to fit in. Have you noticed how these mistakes all kind of piggyback on each other? Like you make one and it leads to the other? Anyway, I went to all these networking events and I so wanted to be liked. And I wanted them to welcome me into their crowd. I wanted to be accepted. And to do that, I became overly vulnerable and shared all of my struggles and all of my insecurities. Now, I don't recommend going to networking events and pontificating and pretending that everything is just amazing when it's not. But there's a line that I crossed, and I see a lot of entrepreneurs do that as well, where they treat this networking crowd, especially if they go to the same one all the time, like it's a group coaching program or like it's their own personal mastermind program. And that's not what networking is for at all. Networking groups are there for you to create profitable relationships that either lead to clients or referral partners, or from where you can get speaking engagements. It's about growing your business. They're not about growing yourself. And when you show up at these events the way I did, being vulnerable and wearing my heart on my sleeve, I certainly didn't come across as an expert. I didn't have their trust in me as a professional at all. Now, they all cared deeply about me. And they wanted to help me, and they wanted to support me, and they championed me. But you know what? Nobody wanted to buy from me because I wasn't showing up as an expert. And that hurt me even further because it kept me from getting on stages for a long time. If I wasn't seen as an expert in my field, like how on earth could I be seen as an expert at the front of the room speaking to all of them? I actually have another episode about this topic of networking, and I'm going to link to it below. And I'm also going to link in the show notes to a really great handout that I gave you that teaches you how to position yourself as an expert when you're networking so that you come across authentically and well-positioned. The reason I'm very passionate about this is because it's a big one. Because for me, despite being an expert, I wasn't showing up that way, and it was a really expensive mistake. And this leads me into the fourth mistake. And I also have another episode dedicated just to this topic, and I'll link to it as well. I went on every single coffee date I was invited to for almost a year. If someone said, let's meet for coffee, Nafissa would go because I thought this could lead to business. And in an entire year of driving, I got one client out of it. One. But I was driving all over town, and I live way out in the country. So a quick cup of coffee was an entire day. And that's what I did. I spent my days doing nothing but driving, attending meetings with no agenda and no outcome, and getting jittery on caffeine. And if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. But just think how precious your time is and how valuable it is when you could be on the phone making sales calls, or you could be at a proper networking event, or you could be reaching out for speaking gigs, or you could be working on a marketing campaign. I mean, that's not to say you don't meet with people or you don't meet in coffee shops and have these meetings, but they need to be productive meetings. They need to have an agenda. And again, I'm going to link to that episode. There's a lot of content in there. What I want you to remember, though, is as CEO of your business, your time is valuable, and any meeting you should accept on the phone or in person should have an agenda and an intended outcome. Now, the fifth mistake I made was perfection paralysis. And having come from a corporate background where everything had to be perfect, everything had to have approval. In my own business, I was so afraid of putting anything out in the world where I thought people would judge me or find a mistake. And then if something got out with a spelling mistake or a typo, or I had the wrong link, it would devastate me. And I would want to prevent that. And I'd spend hours and hours and hours just trying to get it right. But you know what? every hour you spend in your business futzing with behind the scenes things is an hour you're not making money. When I add up all that time, it's crazy to think how much it costs me. And I'm not saying to put subpar work out or to do inappropriate things. But when you don't do things and you don't take action because it's not perfect, or you spend all this time trying to get it perfect and instead of getting it done, then you're losing money and you're losing time. The sixth mistake I made was signing up for far too many programs instead of getting the right help I need. And then you add to the fact that I was worried about what people thought of me. And so every time someone made me an offer, I bought it, whether I needed it or not, because I was worried what they'd think. I wasn't thinking about what I needed. Now, you absolutely need mentoring, and you probably do need to buy some courses and programs when you first start as an entrepreneur. And you know what? Even once you're established as an entrepreneur, you will still need to buy courses and programs, and you still need mentoring because there's so much you have to learn. But you don't need everything at once. And a lot of stuff can come at you with the next best thing and the next best thing and the next best thing, and each one promising to solve what the last one didn't solve for you. But you know what I really wish I'd done? And I encourage you as well. Instead of spending little bits of money here and there and everywhere because I was too afraid to invest in the mentor, I was too afraid to put down that big lump sum all at once, I wish I just bit the bullet and did it right away and hired the right coach and mentor right away who could get me on the right path and who could focus me and who could help me get my business going. Someone who'd been there, who'd done that, and that could help me choose the right online training programs. I see this happen time and time again with so many entrepreneurs because all of these courses and programs do look like the next thing that's going to help you, when in fact all they're doing is distracting you. You can't do 10 courses at once. And the silly thing is that route ends up costing way more money than just investing in the right mentor, especially when you add up the cost of all these different investments plus the money lost for not creating sales. And speaking of sales, I've saved the best for last. Number 7, and the biggest mistake I made, I didn't prioritize learning how to sell. So many entrepreneurs, myself included, are really good at what they do, and they're focused on their skills and their talent and the work they do, but they don't know how to sell. And this has a twofold problem. First of all, they'll hide behind their computers. I mean, I did. I hid behind my computer and I worked on all kinds of things like marketing and the courses I bought, and it all felt like work. And I thought if I could learn the material, or I could just write the perfect email or get my social media right, then it would get people to come to me. And of course, sometimes people will come to you. But people aren't naturally inclined to take action without a good reason. And the new economy is an online world, and there's a lot of hype about making it big and marketing online. And no doubt, online strategies open up a whole new world. I mean, I'm coming to you online. But when you're starting out, or maybe you're established but in a cash flow crunch, selling is way more important than marketing. And yes, marketing's important, but there's still a few levels and layers between you and the client. When you're selling, you're right there. You're making offers, you're providing value, you're exchanging cash for services or products. Learning how to sell is the most important thing you can do. And you know what? You don't need a website to sell. You don't need a list to sell. You don't need anything fancy. You just need to have a conversation with the right person. I really wish I'd learned that right off the bat. I mean, it's amazing that I made any money at all because I still had clients in spite of myself. It's amazing. But I did not have enough for a thriving business. I really struggled for a few years. And again, for 2 reasons. 1, I was waiting for them to come to me. And 2, if they did come to me, once I got them on the phone, I'd lose so many of them because I didn't know how to sell. I'm not saying you want to stop your marketing. I mean, I'm constantly marketing, of course. But now I don't just leave it at that and wait. I will reach out to people. I follow up. I make connections. I make offers even when I'm nervous and scared. Learning how to sell and prioritizing selling itself is the most important thing you can do as an entrepreneur. And maybe that's not what you consider your specialty or your passion, but if you don't want to sell and you don't know how to sell, you don't have a business. So there you have it. The 7 mistakes I made as a brand new entrepreneur, and some of them carried forward for a few years. And as I said earlier, there's a lot of other types of mistakes that you could make in your business as an entrepreneur. And those are mistakes created by taking action. And they're created because you have something uncomfortable in front of you and you don't have all the answers. And so maybe you misjudge. And I don't want to discourage you from doing that or being afraid of doing that, because sure, even if there's money that gets invested in a decision that you don't recoup right away on a particular course of action, there's always so much value you get from what you've learned and from moving forward and constantly taking action. But the things I talked to you about today, these are the things that if you just nip in the bud right now, you'll be on your way to making so much money so much faster. Now, I want to hear from you. If you enjoyed today's episode, let me know. What were your big ahas? Tell me below in the comments and I will come back and engage with you. Do you recognize yourself in any of these mistakes? And the other thing I'd love for you to do is to share this video with someone who you know needs it and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as part of my community. And if you really want to grow your business and meet an awesome tribe of entrepreneurs and get daily inspiration from me, then I'd like to invite you to join the Living Forward Facebook community and continue the conversation. All you have to do is go to livingforwardcommunity.com, click the Join Now button, and I'll see you on the inside.